Tevez sta solo, Tevez all'inizio dell'area, fa fuori tutti, Tevez, si apre la porta, Tevez, gol, da dietro, Pirlo dentro,
Ciao Juventini, welcome back to the All Juve cast channel, where of course it's all Juve all the time, coming off of a 3-0 victory against Lazio, just like everybody predicted, right?
Right.
We had a couple draws.
I predicted a Milik goal. That's enough for me.
We had a couple draws. We had I had to switch mine. I said that game had draw written all over it, and oh my, were we surprised. That was awesome. Probably the best way to go into the World Cup break, and that was a performance like that leaves Cassano and Adani with absolutely nothing for ammo. Okay, those couple of clowns out there, to them, say, okay, Juve getting it done in convincing fashion. Absolutely love it. Okay, so that is exactly how you need to go into the World Cup break. Okay, so today, breaking this one down and all in the aftermath, we got Lex, we got Omer, we got Alberto Buzzo. Okay, Luca there, always trying to get funny there with the names. I like it. Okay, so for everyone on your audio outlets tuning into this, get over to YouTube. Okay, subscribe to the channel, and that's where you're going to get all your daily updates. And we've got a lot of fun that's going to be happening over the World Cup break. Okay, so obviously we have our Ride or Die Challenge. The teams have been drawn. Sorry to Lucci and Anthony who keep complaining about their luck, but I don't care. All right, so we're going to have fun with that. And we're going to tackle following the Juventus players on international duty. And we actually are the most represented team out of Serie A in the World Cup with 11 players going. And that's with Italy not qualifying. Okay, so interesting stuff there. Again, I know where everybody's thoughts are going with that one. Fingers crossed that they come back healthy. Okay, and that they come back fit for the second half of the season. Now, everybody, let's get to this game. As far as the news, we usually kick things off with news. Relatively quiet news day, okay? Still a couple rumors about Sergei Milinkovic-Savic. We got into that yesterday. We're not going to dive into that again. And outside of that, it's more just questions, not really reports. It's just certain things that Max might do in the second half of the season. Omer?
Yeah, there's one last thing from like 25 minutes ago from Nicolas Kira, who says Alberto Odriozola has been offered to Juventus in the last days. The Spanish fullback could leave Real Madrid in January, but he's not Juve's main target for the role.
There you go. All right.
Attaboy, Justin.
So, and as far as the rest, I don't think there's anything newsworthy to really get into.
No, just interviews after the game and stuff. Nothing serious. Giovanni Albanese said something interesting, that Allegri is opting to go after the World Cup with a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, we're going to get to that one after we recap this game, because that's kind of a good topic of discussion, because everybody feels differently. And I've already put my tweet out in reference to that news clip from our main, and already get some contradicting opinions, which is great, but that's why we got the show. So let's get into this lineup. The starting lineup going into this one, we had obviously the reports going into it about Bonucci, and I was willing to bet with Luca on our last show that there was no way Max was going to go Bonucci, and all the way leading into this thing, we saw Bonucci, and then all of a sudden, in comes Gatti. Again, I can't see it happening. Just he wasn't going with him in the big matches leading to that. Can't see it doing it. Gatti's there, more than capable. So you get Gatti. We get Szczesny in goal, Bremer, Gatti, Danilo, Quadrado, Fagioli, Locatelli. There were some doubts there, but luckily he managed to get into the lineup because he has been in strong form. Then you have Rabiot and Kostic, and then Keane and Milik partnering up top. And that one created a little bit of doubts there, because some like to see we felt we were lacking some dynamic play and needed some help in the middle that Moretti can bring. But he went with Keane and Milik, and he backed him, and Max backed him. So that's one thing we can go on. That lineup, straightforward. it is what it is. That middle's been playing a lot, but you know what? Keep it going. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. This was our last one going into the World Cup break. I have no issues with that lineup, and I was glad to see Gatti get the start. How did you guys feel about that starting lineup? Let's start with Lex.
Same. I felt the same way. I was okay with it. I thought like this is the midfield that Max more or less stumbled upon, and it was clicking for us. We had a lot of qualities that complement each other. So I was cool with the midfield. It was cool with the 3-5-2 up against Saudi's 4-3-3. It was okay for me from the start as well.
There you go. Luca.
I'm just glad I didn't put money on Bonucci starting with you because I had a feeling. I mean, look, I'm glad he didn't start, but I just had a feeling that Max would be stubborn and put him back in there. So, yeah, I mean, look, it's not like he had many other choices. I'm surprised Locatelli started, but I'm happy about it. And that's it.
There you go. Omer, anything to add on our lineups?
No, I yapped about it for 5 minutes yesterday, so nothing to add for me.
It's good. Move on.
There you go. There you go. I got to say, morning. How can we forget about the amazing live chat? Okay, good morning from New York City. Good morning. We got Jeremiah coming in here. Hi, guys. Great win. We're on an amazing streak. Since Fagioli came on at Lecce, no coincidence. Everybody started playing better, more balance in midfield from unwanted to essential. Forza Fagioli. There you go. Good morning, AJC. Coming in from Vito. Going into World Cup break in third. Who would have thought?
Nobody.
Fabio Ciao. Yes, third place. Amazing. Forza Juve. Positive stuff. Everybody feeling great. And again, it was unexpected. Okay, we were ridden off by many and some our own fans. And look who we got here coming in today. Cue the Cliff Gritty. Hey, I was dropping some gritties on the live watch on because I was so pumped for Keane's goals. But Cliff, good to see you in there, man.
I'm happy to see him in there, but the gritty
We'll have
just
to get him. We'll have to get him in here at some point. We'll have to reach out and get him back on one of these shows. So let's get through the highlights.
No dancing.
And we're going to talk about this game. We're going to give our overviews. Then we're going to get to all the good stuff after that. Okay, so let's get into it. 11th minute, Kostic finding Fagioli after a good switch field from Fagioli himself, gets to the top of the area, gets a nice left-footed shot out, forces Provedel into a save, and he managed to just hang on with none other than Moise Kean lingering there, just waiting for that rebound to pounce. So Juve starts off very, very good. Our press was definitely engaged. If you looked at Lazio was just getting shut down. I found it strange how they were using Sergej Milinkovic-Savic as this kind of creator and kind of trying to control things. Not really his style, but I was taking it because I felt that was to our advantage. He was basically trying to control things, and he was stuck out on a wing, on a flank and whatnot, and essentially just crossing things in. So I really, really like that. So it was good stuff from Juve, basically neutralizing Lazio. We had a couple other opportunities, one coming from Keane, who again had 1v1. He had Milik over to his left, but he decides to take a shot, just ends up going wide. And then in the 42nd minute, I don't think you could have scripted this, okay, any better than how it went down. But Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, who is obviously all the rumors, and I'm sure it has something to do with the game taking place and whatnot, all these rumors about Juve going after him and whatnot, Rabiot, all these contract talks and renewals at 10 million, but Adrian Rabiot strips Milinkovic-Savic of the ball, pops the ball over Lazio's backline into Moise Kean's path, and Kean does incredibly well to finish that one off for the 1-0 Juve goal, and that was absolutely great stuff. And what can you really say? Keane's finish there, Provedel just misread that completely. Probably thought it was going to get to that edge of the area where he could grab it with his hands, and then realized, hey, he's at the point of no return, goes out there. But Keane did extremely well. I absolutely lost my mind on that goal. Anything to add on that? You couldn't have scripted that any better. Rabiot stripping Milinkovic-Savic, getting the assist there.
It was like poetry, like you said. Like you couldn't have written a better script for that goal, and I just thought Keane was just incredible on that finish. Like I was it was great. Like, credit to him, all credit to him. It was great. And Rabiot's through ball, got to give credit to Rabiot too. But like you said, Al, like, you could not have scripted a better goal with all of the drama associated around that game with the midfielders.
Yeah, you couldn't have scripted it any better. Anything to add, Luca, Omer, on that goal?
There was stuff of I don't know that. But
Omar, you're breaking up, buddy.
I love it.
Yeah, Omar, we're losing you, man. Breaking up.
So,
Luca, anything to add on that goal?
I'll fix my internet.
Yeah, let him. Okay. One, I just want to say that I'm not going to overly applaud Rabiot for stripping SMS. I think that was just a bad touch on SMS's side, and I'm glad he got the ball off him properly. But people are freaking out as if he made some beautiful slide tackle. Like, he got the ball, he was in the right spot.
He tried to beat him. Sergey, that wasn't a bad touch. He literally tried to take him on.
Okay, and then I'm even more impressed that he was able to chip the ball perfectly to keep. Like, I am beyond impressed with how well that went. 2 perfect moves from Rabiot. I'm like, oh my god, buy me a lottery ticket. And then the fact that Keane was able to finish it perfectly. If you told me this 3 months ago, I would have called you absolutely batshit insane.
3 months ago, dude. The guy's been in top form, man, for a while now. He's had.
I'm saying
this whole bad stretch.
I'm just saying 3 months ago, no one would have seen this coming.
Surprised anymore? That's the point.
Rabiot,
can you really be surprised about Rabiot anymore?
Yes, because usually he'd do all the work and then his final ball stinks. So that was impressive. That
last goal, that touch we talked about, Rabiot's touch was incredible. On
I still think that was luck.
He's turning a corner, man. Like, you can't be surprised anymore. If you're surprised still by Rabiot, at this point you haven't been paying attention.
I've been watching the games. I'm still surprised though, because it's like it's been 2 years of shit, and now he's putting it together. Like,
again, you're going on years. We talked about that last week. Last year, he was playing outside as a central midfielder. Your boy, who you love to praise, Weston McKennie. Oh, save everybody from Weston McKennie. Save Weston McKennie. He got caught in the same thing. You were using the defense against Weston McKennie. Mm-hmm. If you're going to use it for him, you better damn well use it for Rabiot.
What was my defense for McKennie?
Don't give that shit to me on Rabiot last year, because he was playing the same thing. If you're surprised at this point, there's nothing any of our players can do to appease you, I feel like. He has been in incredible form, man. He's one of our most consistent, next to Kostic and Danilo and Bremer. Those are our 4 guys most consistent.
Okay, settle down.
I challenge you guys to tell me
a little mad.
Somebody else on the team that's been more consistent than those 4. You can't. You can't do it.
I'm not. I'm just saying 3 months ago, I would not have expected this.
Yeah, but 3 months ago, we wouldn't have expected us to beat Lazio.
Exactly.
As a team. But
that's what I'm saying. Things have changed, Bert. I'm agreeing. You're just seeing it the other way. Take a chill pill. I am not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying.
Omer, get in here.
No, I love nothing better than a goal right before halftime. That's like a kicker for me. Nothing better than that. At the second it happened, I knew we were going to have a great second half.
Yeah. There you go. Luca, you need to calm down, man. I'm just telling
you.
Don't be surprised anymore. Because every time someone tries to praise Rabiot, you just have to turn back to the shit.
I literally said I was impressed that he did 2 touches.
Nah.
Good grief.
You tried to say that
this morning.
Savage had a bad touch and didn't try to take him on. Relax.
Let's
move on. A goal before halftime. We love it. We're up 1-0. Let's get your thoughts on that actual first half of football, because there were still frustrations out there from Juventus team that we weren't kind of creating enough up until that goal.
Clearly.
It still felt like, hey, Lazio's not doing anything, but Juve's not really turning the screw offensively. Did you guys have that feeling? And we'll start this one with Omar and then go around the horn here.
I feel like both teams were very cautious going forward. Like, they didn't put man up and trying to get that first goal. Everything was kind of left to chance and counterattacks. But that Keane goal really, tipped the scale into Juve's favor, and then Lazio got all nervous. But we'll get to the second half. So far, it's pretty similar to what we've seen in the past 5-6 games in terms of the first half and second half.
Pretty much. Luca.
I was gonna let Lex go first.
Go ahead, Luke. It's all good.
First half was fine. I mean, Omar said it right. Like I expected it just to be a game of attrition. You know, first mistake lands you the first goal, but truthfully, there was no huge difference in the performances in the first half. I think that obviously the goal was incredibly important to get us ahead at half, and you know, in a game where I thought it was just going to be whoever messes up first, you know, decides the game. I thought that was incredibly important to get the deadlock broken before the first half. Well, obviously before halftime. The only person I really look on negatively in the first half was Cuadrado, but that's just a usual occasion. So
Yeah, that's a given.
yeah, exactly. That's it.
All right. Lex, your thoughts on that first half?
Agreed. I thought it went as we probably predicted it would go. I mean, two teams with top defensive records. I mean, how about that? The top defensive record for Lazio, not so much anymore. Three goals past it, which was pretty sweet. But agreed with Omar. Like that goal at that time, right before the end of the first half, is just it's great. I mean, it kind of turned the tide of the match for us, and we went in and had a pretty good second half. But yeah, you guys both covered it pretty well with the first half.
And I mean, obviously, it went the way it needed to be. We needed to neutralize them. They were having Felipe Anderson as a false nine. They were trying to use Sergej Milinkovic-Savic as this controlling midfielder and whatnot. And Pedro and Romero were literally hugging the bylines, had nobody to really play off of and whatnot. The Felipe Anderson false nine thing was just not helping their case anyways. So it was really, really good. That went how it needed to for them trying to make something work in the absences of obviously Immobile, Zaccagni, Lazzari. Lazzari was a big one, would have probably helped their flank out tremendously. And obviously Immobile, you have to watch out for him in league. This is not the Azzurri. And I get my little shots in there, of course, on Lazio players. Got to get the shots in there. But it is what it is. We go to the second half. What was Juve going to do? Were we going to turn the screw? Were we going to attack them? Were we going to get after this, try and seal this thing? Absolutely. I was curious as to what Sarri was going to do, if he was going to make any adjustment, because I thought Sergej Milinkovic-Savic was wasted from his part. They did. They did change that. He did try to start making Sergej Milinkovic-Savic more of a target man. He started pushing against our back line. He started making runs into space. However, the rest of the team could not find Sergej Milinkovic-Savic. I think he had two opportunities just to flick the ball on in the area, but again, just cleaned up and handled very, very nicely from Juventus. There were a couple opportunities in the second half where Lazio did find a through ball on Cuadrado and Gatti's flank. Again, we cleaned them up, but there was one challenge where Cuadrado, it was a little sketchy, and he had to get in there and intervene. Again, I just like to see that be a little more cleaned up. And I think if I had to say what that comes down to is, again, if those guys had more minutes together, Gatti and Cuadrado ahead of them there, that probably gets cleaned up. It almost seemed like a communication thing on a couple of those. But outside of that, really, Lazio was rendered toothless. 47th minute, Milik gets a strike, tries to go short side off his left foot, forces a save. And then 53rd, Milik steals the ball in the midfield. It goes to Locatelli. He one-touches this ball over to Kostic. Kostic has a rip from the top of the area there, and there's your rebound. And who's there? Moise Kean. Cue the gritty. Here we go, 2-0 Juve. Outside of that, 88th minute, we get some subs. Di Maria finds Chiesa striding in there, and we even get a Chiesa assist to celebrate. Okay, so Chiesa finding Milik with his ball. Milik doing well, forces the defender to run in short side. He just stops, holds up, and Chiesa did well, looking up, finding him, and then putting the money ball there. All it needed to do was get a touch, and it's directed towards goal. 3-0. Szczesny makes a good stop on a long Felipe Anderson drive that was going to the top corner, just to ensure that we get that sixth consecutive clean sheet in league play. All right, so incredible stuff. There's the game. 3-0. Unbelievable. let's get to your overviews post-match and the 3-0, everything, Chiesa coming in, and we're going to get to all the stuff after. After your overview, let's go right into man of the match. So give us your thoughts on the game overall, second half, and who your man of the match was, and we could start this one off with Lex.
Wow. So, I mean, what is there to say? That was 2 big wins for us in the past 8 days. It's about a 6-game win streak now. Like, just an excellent run of form, you could say, more or less in the league, and especially in terms of results. And I thought that the performance yesterday was probably the happiest I've been watching us play in a while, probably especially that second half, just how we were controlling. I never felt like that game was out of our reach and out of our control. I never felt extremely threatened by Lazio. And so I thought that was excellent. Definitely lots of positives. I like that balanced midfield trio that we're seeing of Locatelli, Fagioli, and Rabiot. I think that they have a lot of qualities that suit each other well. And so I think that has really helped us with that. I loved how we were playing wide and we were using the wide areas in our wing backs and then cutting back with crosses. We were really exposing them there, especially up that left flank. I don't know if we noticed in that left side and left half space was where we created our second and our third goal was coming both from that side. So I thought we did well to overload their 4-3-3 in that sense, because that's where you're exposed, right, on those wide areas. So I thought that was good. I thought Chiesa assist, like, how can you not be happy about that? We're just waiting for a Chiesa goal. Chiesa for the first time in our away kit too, like that was awesome. And Bremer looked really good in the back 3, I thought. Thought that there was a lot of positives to take away from that second half. And I mean, who would have thought that it would have been Keane leading this remontada for us, which I thought Keane brace. That's why I think I'm going to have to pick Keane as my man of the match, because I mean, that's an excellent run of form for him yesterday. And he silenced a lot of doubters and haters a bit with that. So, I mean, credit to Keane. 2 goals coming up big for us. But yeah, can you be mad? 3-0 win. We scored 3 goals in 1 game, guys.
There you go. There you go. Just like we all expected. Omer.
Yeah, so man of the match, I don't know, when I pick a man of the match, it's like someone who did their job great or someone who did over and beyond what he's supposed to do. So Keane did his job. He's a striker. He should score. He was there both times. Great finishes, great positioning. I'll stick with Keane. He deserves it. He's been on a rough patch, and lately he's been getting it on. He deserves it. As far as the game goes, we were really in control. Like Lex said, I didn't feel like we're losing the game at any point and that Lazio are taking over. We kind of shifted really well between defensive phases to attacking phases. We did start taking our chances finally, because I can't remember how many attacks of like 3-on-1, 3-on-2 that we didn't finish last season with Morata and stuff. Shout outs to Milik. He works his ass off every game and he got the goal he deserves. Kostic was once again great, and I actually find it interesting that, you know, the high profile names that came in the summer were Di Maria and Pogba, but so far Bremer and Kostic were far and beyond our best signings this summer. And I know I shit on Cuadrado a lot, and I think he should leave as early as January, but I will give him a bit of credit. Since we conceded only 7 goals all season, we keep praising the defense. He is our wingback. He's part of that defense. He's been there every game, so can't praise the defense and say he's been bad, because if he has been bad defensively, then we would have probably conceded. Offensively, that's a different story, but defensively, he deserves credit just as much as the rest of the guys.
Yeah. Great. Well said there, Omar. A lot of great points, and some of those are going to become discussion points after we get to the overviews. Let's get to Lucas. Luca, you pretty much you made the call a couple shows ago about Kostic and saying he was our guy. And man, you know what? For me, it was super close. Him and Bremer were top guys, but man, he is tough to deny, and the work rate, it's incredible. It's incredible.
I think yesterday after I think it was obviously the second goal. I went and looked for like that snippet of that clip of me saying that because I'm like, I want to double down on this because I found he just keeps improving every game, and it's unfortunate that he can't go almost 90 minutes with the same intensity. Like usually around the 80th minute, he starts to slow down just a tad, and that's why I think Illing being healthy was great for us at that time. But he's playing 90 minutes every game. I think Kostic really, if it wasn't for Keane having such a great performance, let's say stat wise, for me, I'm putting either Locatelli or Kostic as man of the match because Kostic did everything. He was up, down, left, right, center, hustled. But Locatelli, I think, nudges man of the match for me because he went in we don't know what type of fitness he was in. He's battling some sort of injury, and he played his heart out. Like you would never tell he was injured. 84 minutes nonstop. He was leading the charge. He was fighting every fight as if it was his last. So for me, Locatelli just edges it because, I think Keane on that second goal was just lucky to be there. Props on the first goal. But I think overall, Luca did above and beyond, and he did doing so carrying an injury. So for me, Luca, it just underrated yesterday, sorry. And that's all I want to add. I mean, you guys said everything else beautifully. Those are my notes.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Now, the World Cup ride or die. Lex, is this true? Did you say this?
Fake. It's fake. No.
All right. We have a lot of good stuff coming in. It's not even the Storm the Barn session, but based on, everything you guys are saying and whatnot, great overviews from all three of you. And we've got some questions kind of coming in here. And, it was a question mark we had going into the big games down the stretch because we knew we didn't have Chiesa for full games and we didn't have Di Maria coming in back for full games and all this. But Kush basically saying, why do our best players not have 90 minutes in their legs? Luka and Kostic, is anyone else concerned about that? I'm not necessarily concerned because of the fact of how much they've played consecutively now. And you throw in big matches like Inter and even this Lazio game in there. It's normal. I mean, these guys have had to just go consecutively, especially in the middle of the park. Kostic has played an absurd amount of football since coming over. Okay. And I'm honestly surprised, not that he's bailing out when he does, like as far as you can see the fatigue. I'm actually surprised it isn't earlier in games based on how much he's actually playing. He's absolutely blown me away. There was another comment here I want to touch on, which was as far as Kostic goes, it was saying Kostic is one-dimensional but very effective. He isn't actually one-dimensional. I think what we use him for makes it seem as though he's one-dimensional. But if you watched at Frankfurt and everything like that and saw what he could do there, he's far more capable. But again, I think it's how we're using him and whatnot makes it seem that way. But one way or another, he is finding his contributions, and he's been a crucial part of this team at this point. And now it's going to get interesting in the aftermath of this and looking ahead to the second season, which we will start to get into and start to dive in here.
Can I just put in a fact here quick? And top three most minutes played this season, it's Danilo, Bremer, and Kostic in that order.
Yeah.
So,
and those have been three of our most consistent performers. Absolutely, without a doubt. In terms of talking about our additions and them, having effects and whatnot, you can't consider Pogba in the discussion because he hasn't played. Di Maria has faced, some injuries and whatnot as well. So it's kind of hard. Di Maria, however, when in the lineup, he was hot and cold. We talked about that yesterday on Match Day Live as well. So these guys and Kostic, again, he was one some of us were pretty hyped up on and pretty excited that we brought in, especially for that money. If you look back to my daily update videos all summer, I said this move, because we were starting to get rumors that it would be dependent on a different move and Kostic might not happen. I said at that money, bring this guy in no matter what. Like, this move should be a standalone piece of business. Every now and again, the gaffer gets one right. So there's one for the old man. Okay, so here we go. Man of the match for me, You know, the nice thing about these performances as of late is there are multiple that you can choose. Okay. This was one of them. I saw great performances from Bremer, Danilo, Locatelli. Rabiot had a great showing. Keane bagging the goals. Kostic again for the work rate. Honestly, man of the match is just a team shout out for the actual team, because that was, for me, our best performance in quite some time. It was incredible. Absolutely neutralizing Lazio, and a lot of our players getting involved some way or another and having their stamp on this match. So shout out to the entire team on this one. Now, let's get to some of the good stuff. Omer brought in shouts about the 4-2-3-1 in the second half. Moving that one on. Reminder, everybody, while you're here too, like the video, okay? Don't wait. Smash that thumb button, okay?
Do it
Subscribe.
now. Yeah, do it now.
4-2-3-1. Moving into the second half of the season, yes or no? Why or why not? Who wants to kick us off on that?
Yeah, I can start. I don't know. Like, if we didn't have that run of form that we currently have, I would say, yeah, go for it, no questions asked. But that 3-5-2, which obviously works, and like they found the formula, and that may have been Max's all-time problem. It takes time until he finds the right formula for the team. Then I don't know. Is it smart to break it? Is it starting all over again? Or I don't know. The reported one was with Chiesa in the middle and Kostic on the left and Di Maria on the right. Sorry. Yeah, Di Maria on the right. I'm fine with it. I think it could work, especially if we have Pogba somewhere in there. But I would push Chiesa out and put Di Maria in the middle. That's my only knock on it. If we do go that route, I strongly believe we need either a left back or a right back. One of those. Have to
Yeah,
get one of them. We can't go 4-2-3-1 with Sandro and Quadrado again.
yeah. For me, it's really simple. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't see a reason to change. I don't see a reason to change the 3-5-2. As far as getting all our players in, this is also the same team that hasn't necessarily fixed their injury troubles, especially of the muscular variety. So I don't think we need to empty the clip with all these guys. For me, I would definitely start looking at Chiesa. I've got some hesitancy there, but I think as a wingback, if we keep things the way they are, Kostic is the flank that predominantly pushes forward. And if you're going to use Chiesa, you give him that freedom to kind of be that force out of there. That gives Di Maria that spot in behind your striker, which should then be Vlahovic, and I would keep things the same. I wouldn't risk this identity that we have come across, which is the defensive force, okay, and the clean sheets. And right now, that balance between your defense and midfield and whatnot should be kept and maintained at all costs, in my opinion. So going to a 4-2-3-1 as well, then you start looking at fullbacks. And I don't see it. I would not mess with it. I would leave it in 3-5-2. The nice thing about Chiesa is, again, we can offer rotation. Di Maria should be preserved. Paul Pogba should be preserved. We shouldn't have to get these guys 90s every single game in and out. You shouldn't have to do that. So keep it rotational. And Kostic, again, has been a force that might open the door for Chiesa as that second striker and getting those guys on. And then if you need, then Di Maria comes in and is that option. I leave it the same. Luca, Lex, your thoughts on a switch of formation or setup?
Go first.
Yeah, you guys both covered it really well. I'm probably going to agree with that too. I think if this 3-5-2 has been working for us and we find that it's getting the best and being able to use our players most effectively, like you mentioned, in terms of managing injuries, managing minutes, then I say we should continue with it. I think that it's been a bit of consistency that we've finally landed upon that we've been waiting for. But I would also be okay. I think I can see a 4-2-3-1 also working for our team. I don't see a problem with that. I just, again, the fullback issue, I think like the back three tends to alleviate that fullback issue. I think Bremer looks super comfortable in the back three as well, which is a positive. So like same thing, like I said, if it isn't broke, don't fix it, as Al mentioned. And yeah, that's what I'm going to say for it.
There you go. Luca?
I don't think we should change unless, like you said, we bring in any fullbacks in January. The four in the back. I mean, at this point, Alexandro's not a fullback anymore. I think we can all agree he's better as a center back. And we know that. I mean, besides maybe MDS coming back and Danilo also looks better as a center back lately. It's tough to even think about a four-man defense when we have so many good center backs right now. My only worry, yes, Omar, go.
No, go continue.
My only worry is that I don't see a left flank where we have Kostic and Chiesa together. I think it's good if they're both there; they work well together. But I feel like they have very similar qualities on the wide variants. Like they both need to come in from the wing, and I would use one, not both, on the left side. Maybe try to shift one to the right. I'm thinking Chiesa. I don't know. I forget how his pass is on the right side. I don't remember if it was great. But to me, I mean, my real worry is Cuadrado on that right side needs something to switch with. That's where January is going to be important. And again, like Al said, we don't need to put everybody in the starting 11. Like, you don't need to get Di Maria, Kostic, Chiesa, Duzan. Like, we could use some of these guys as subs. Don't forget, like, they're not completely fit yet. And, I mean, Chiesa or Di Maria as a sub is incredible. If you're having a good 60 minutes, imagine one of them coming in. I mean, I think Max now is going to be really put to the test. And that's where we're going to be, judging him heavily on.
Yeah. So in terms of keeping it the same, I know Cuadrado, he's the common theme amongst maybe making a switch is to get him off the field and whatnot. Now, while we harp on Cuadrado quite a bit, and to be honest, this season has left saying a lot to be desired is an understatement. However, on the defensive side of things, even in this 3-5-2, he makes it work. Like he's still actually holding things down defensively.
Mm-hmm.
And it is helping because it's creating that left side to be an absolute force through Kostic. So while we have the same frustrations from Cuadrado offensively and like hindering plays, slowing plays down and whatnot, he's still a part of making this whole thing work. And he's played an absurd amount of minutes. He is older, on his way out, and still taking down the minutes. So, and hey, I've been extremely rough on Cuadrado, but this is me saying it that it's not all bad, and he is actually holding things down defensively. If there's one positive to take out of that, so again, it still stays in my 3-5-2. We had this question, which was everybody fit, give us your starting 11, just on the last show. And I said, I still stick in a 3-5-2. And funny enough, through the frustrations, I still had Cuadrado out there because it gives me our best center backs available as the three center backs in that system. To be honest, go ahead, Omer.
The issue is what happens when our left side doesn't function. When
that's what I was
having an off day because there's nothing happening on the right. That's my main concern.
Well, we are not
going to be a game
done. Even with 3-0 victory against Lazio, even with this run of form, it would be silly to say we still don't have work to be done. I see a lot of comments in here in the live chat about Fagioli and Fagioli's impact. We're not at the storm the barn moment now, but we'll get into this one anyways because Jeremiah is dropping this saying that the inclusion of Fagioli as a starter has brought out the best of the rest in the winning streak. Almost every single player has improved big time. This is not a coincidence. I had a question, and it was 2 shows ago where I was saying, is his inclusion all of a sudden being overhyped Or is it underrated? Where is it at? Here's the thing with me. I think Fagioli needs to be involved more than he already has when he's going to be playing in the midfield. If you look at this game yesterday, he had 17 touches in the first half. Okay, that's it. In the second half, only 14.
Yeah.
Only 14 touches. Our right side, granted, it didn't need to be used, but this is not necessarily something uncommon with the Fagioli thing in him in the midfield. He's still doing a great role. We're not losing anything defensively. When he's on the ball, he's very composed, he's poised, and he does well with it. And he distributes it very, very well. Always has high passing percentages, very low dispossession numbers. However, we're not utilizing him a lot. While Cuadrado has been an issue on the right side, you still see fundamental issues with that midfielder that we have on that side with Cuadrado, even when it's Fagioli. When it was McKennie, you see him abandon and immediately go forward. Quad can't get you the ball there. It's like we're trying to get him onto the byline ahead of Cuadrado. That's nonsense. And Fagioli was doing the same thing yesterday. For whatever reason, this is common practice for Juventus, and we lose those options. They need to be that one option here. If you're playing a 2-forward system, why on earth wouldn't naturally one of your forwards shift down that line in a straight line manner, and your midfielder essentially should be inside of Cuadrado, either next to him or moving forward for that angle. So we do this no matter who that player is. So regardless of who that wing back is, there's a bigger issue fundamentally and systematically that happens on that right side. And it's weird. It's weird that it hasn't been corrected.
I think there's a reason for it, in my opinion. Like, because Fagioli is not, this type of guy who runs fast. He's the kind of guy who distributes balls. And we've seen this an awful lot of time that Cuadrado runs up, gets stuck, passes it backwards. And I saw tons of times when he had the option to give it to Fagioli, he waited just a second longer and then it's gone and he has to pass it back.
Yeah.
While on the other side, Rabiot has more of a big strides and explosive force, and he can aid Kostic as being the guy who cuts out wide and Kostic is the one going in. We don't see that on the right side because Fagioli is not as fast, big, or just a physical presence like Rabiot is. That's where I see the problem. But Fagioli is doing a great work that McKennie wasn't able to do.
Here's the thing, though. While we're still on the streak, and it doesn't matter left side or right side, and I'll tell you why. Because no matter what, even in this 3-0 victory, you did not break them down. You did not break them down other than counters.
Yeah, exactly.
Other than counter attacks. This team will continue to struggle until they fix that fundamental issue. Not that we're going to continue to struggle, but I still don't see us breaking teams down other than that counter attack. And in a counter attack, I expect almost any team to do well on counter attacks. There's still a lot of work to be done. That's one of the issues I see. And I get Cuadrado's frustrations, but I see something bigger systematically that still happens, and it's in the middle of the park. For me, it's not natural for a midfielder. Even if you take Cuadrado out of the equation, Fagioli needs to get at least as many touches as Adrien Rabiot, his counterpart on the left side, very, very close to. Okay, and he's never, very rarely ever close. We had one match where he got close to it, and it needs to be corrected because, in my opinion, that's the next step. We've done well. We've gone on this tear, but you have to keep improving. And this is one thing too, whether it's Paredes, whether it's Locatelli, whatever, they get abandoned sometimes too quick. Lazio, we neutralized Lazio. It didn't do anything, but that's the one caveat I have with this victory yesterday is that I still think we need to do better in terms of our own buildup. And I'm hoping it will come. For me, my call is Fagioli. He needs to get on the ball more. We need to figure out how to get those guys that can dictate play, control tempo, and set people up on it more. That's my one thing. That's my one bugaboo from this match. Lex, Luca, what do you think in terms of those thoughts?
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, if you go back to those Fajoli statements about like how him coming in kind of changed things for us and changed our dynamic in our midfield and in our team play, I felt that I agree with that too. And I put a tweet out about it yesterday. And I thought also Fajoli helped bring out this really good run of form we've seen from Locatelli. So I thought that was also a great positive for our midfield. I think that they suit each other very well in terms of their play. We saw a lot I've seen of notice since Fajoli's been playing with our midfield, which, as Al mentioned, still not as much as we'd like, but I thought that there has been more interplay and passing within our midfield, between our midfielders, which was great to see, like Locatelli and Fajoli playing 1-2 passes to each other, creating space, Fajoli receiving the ball between the lines. That's probably my favorite thing he does, because it's just been so long since we've seen our midfield work in that way. And so I think that that is definitely positive. And, you know, talking to that effect of bringing Fajoli and how that's done wonders for our team and for our midfield. And I just find it shocking that this is all happening too when he's still having the limited moments on the ball, as Al's pointed out with those stats about like still limited number of touches. So I think if we can unlock that, we can get him on the ball more, get our midfield in general, because that was a big criticism, right, with the whole octagon formation. Remember that photo from back where it was like a non-existent midfield, but I felt that like we won the midfield battle yesterday, and we've just had so much more presence as in our midfield since Fajoli came on. So I do credit him a lot. And Locatelli, we stood by him. We did stand by him. No matter what, he's still my guy. I saw a comment that said Loca Alexa.
Yeah.
So is the Alexa going to change soon?
It's got to change.
It has to. Come on.
It's the end of the
Badge
year,
Alexa?
Lex. Let's go.
Badge Alexa, I even
Now-
have a celebration
That's a
for
good
you.
show.
Let's get to some more of the goods here. So now I can already see in the live chat, do not mistake what I was saying. Because everyone's saying, what would happen if McKennie was in there yesterday? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the same system issues are present regardless of who the individual is. It's what they're being asked to do. They need to figure that out to move to the next step. We must always be looking to improve. Never be satisfied, everybody, because if you're satisfied, that's when the improvement stops. So we're not satisfied just yet. I've got big things and big hopes for this team in the second half of the season.
I haven't changed our mantra. Game by game. Doesn't matter where we are.
One game at a time. And let's not forget, because when those goals came and we got all ecstatic, I was losing it on the watch along, okay? But until that 42nd minute, it was the same feeling of we're not creating enough. We're not creating enough. We're not doing. And then all of a sudden, what happened? It was a steal and a counterattack, ball over the top. I expect that to happen when we get those types of moments. But it's in the build-up ahead of that. Juve was being shut down as well. And again, good defense in Lazio, but we've seen that against a lot of opposition that's not as strong defensively as Lazio as well. So just saying, room for improvement there. Danilo. Can Danilo get some goddamn love, please? Okay. All right. Let's give Danilo some goddamn love. Okay. The only player to play in every single minute of the 6 straight consecutive league clean sheets. Okay. I've been at it. Okay. With people on Twitter. I will not stand for Danilo slander. Okay. It's done. This guy is our leader, and he is this team's captain, and he's done more than enough to deserve it. And I am more than happy for this guy. Okay. So it's funny to me. Just one of the things I notice, I'm not going to put anyone on the spot or anything, but we as Juventini can be demanding with players. We want them to act right, say the right things, play a certain manner, give their 150%, show grinta. Danilo does it all, and for some reason, there's still a bunch that want to shit on him. I don't get it. Danilo is this team's captain, and I'm giving him massive props. Does anyone have anything they want to touch on with Danilo before we get to our next topic?
Just that I've said it before that some players just, their characteristics fit the teams that they're playing at. And his way of playing and his positive traits didn't match Real Madrid's or
Or
Man
City.
City.
No.
But for Juve,
Yeah, he
that
fits.
grinta, that leadership, that is
Mhm.
what we as fans are looking for. And if you asked fans in the summer if we should sell him or not, like 80% would say yes. But he proved that it took a bit of a 2, maybe 3 years to finally find his place and find his rhythm. Sometimes these things take time, and no one is bombing right out of the gate. It's pretty rare, actually, to see someone just being as good as he can be, from the first minute he plays. And Danilo is a living proof of that.
Anything to add, Lex, Luca?
Just quickly, similar to Kostic, we're not looking for flamboyant, exciting champagne football. This is Juventus. For the longest time, we've been lacking some sort of identity. What we needed were guys who were going to do the job, at what they're being asked to do, on and off the field, and give everything. We don't need you to take on your man and do a roulette. No, we just need you to play for the shirt, show that you care, and hustle. And that's what Danilo's done. That's what Kostic has done. That's what Bremer has done. That's what Locatelli. I mean, I could keep going, but props to Danilo for doing exactly what's demanded and nothing, extremely. We don't need the Cancelo debate is done. That's 4 years ago. I don't hear it anymore. Done.
You don't have to be flashy. You just got to get the job done.
Exactly.
And Danilo too's been asked to reinvent himself like multiple times across different positions, and he's taken it in stride. And I also think that to play from the player to have gone from when he turned off his Instagram comments because he was just getting so much hate from fans, to where he's at now, where he's in a in our hierarchy to be captain. I just think that that's just fantastic, and I think that's a tribute to his character, for sure.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. You guys make me so proud sometimes. No Danilo slander ever on the AJC.
I'm going to save
Love
that
it.
one.
Love it. Now, Moise Kean. Let's talk a little bit about Moise Kean.
Oh, boy.
This is a prime example of why when we talk about contract extensions, we talk about players, and you can tie Rabiot into this too. You can't necessarily look at the past when you're making decisions on players currently. And this is what I'm saying. Moise Kean last season, if we could have, we would have said, get the hell out of here the second we had that opportunity. And everybody would be there with me. Don't lie. So we would have all been there.
Oh, yeah.
But here we go into this season. And again, started off rocky for Moise. Okay. But obviously through injury, through necessity, through max backing and everything, here we are. And if this continues, all of a sudden, this obligation that we were dreading isn't so much of a big deal. So it just goes to show you, just maybe remain calm sometimes and let's just wait, because a lot can change over the course of a season. Unfortunately, with guys like Alexandro, nothing will change. But I'm telling you, Moise Kean is a prime example of just pumping the brakes on all those rumors, discussions, and everything. Guys, anything to add?
Well, Keane's so young. That's the one thing that was going for him. And I know I had mentioned it last year too when we were in those talks. I mean, the way he was performing, there's no doubt. I mean, you'd watch it and you're like, well, this is not going to work. This isn't working for us right now. But he's so young that I think that it's not surprising that he can have this type of turn of form. I don't know if if he can keep this up, it's definitely good for a sub striker for us or whatnot. But I mean, definitely he's better. We need these guys to be clicking, so that's good that he's turned these things around a little bit. Still need to see more from him, of course, but
yeah. Omer?
Yeah, I still have a soft spot for him because after everything, he's still a youth product of Juve, and there's nothing better than seeing these guys succeed at Juve. So I would have probably sent him away in the summer if we had the option, but many times I probably would have been wrong. I hope my prime hope is that he wouldn't turn into another Balotelli, overhyped since young age. But if he does do well, that's that's the scale for me. He needs to do well. He needs to be quiet and keep on working and shutting all of us up with goals and great performances. Nothing better than that. So I
Yeah.
still have a soft spot for him, and I hope he'll keep it.
Great stuff. Also, can't be ignored. The diet lost 20 to 22 pounds. Yeah, more productive. Maybe. Well, obviously has an effect. Usually, when players are asked to cut, especially that much during a season, it's pretty hard on them, and usually affects them in the other manner. But this is a great instance where it's helped tremendously. Luca, anything to add to Keane?
Look, I had my reservations. I'll be very honest. I still think, and I'm very glad that he stepped up. I still think much of it just came down to Max having no one else really to play there. I mean, Dusan's been out. Miretti, I think, was probably the only option you could put in for Keane yesterday if Keane wasn't starting. But I'm glad he's performing. I think if he mentally finds, some sort of serenity, then the sky's the limit. But much like Balotelli, that's all it was. It was a mentality thing. A lot of people are angry about his snub from the call ups for the Azzurri. Again, that goes back to his discipline, his mentality. I think he was late for many practices and stuff like that. He's 22. If he matures, becomes at one with his mental state, and works on his first touch, I think he's got a lot of potential. And again, he's young, so I don't think there's really a downside to all this. I think he can only go forward, but he's proving a lot of people wrong, and I'm glad that I'm one of them because, like you said, last year a lot of us would have said sell him in the summer. So
Yeah. So again, just another positive note here. Max Allegri being credited for helping with diet and getting the weight down there. Now, Max Allegri.
I don't want to answer that.
30%. I'll give you right now, right away.
Stop it. Has Max changed anyone's opinion so far?
Nah,
No.
not yet.
Can I start?
Go, Luca.
It's going to feed off what I just said. I mean, I'm glad the team is clicking. Max, I had this discussion with Lou this morning. Max can be praised for many of the things that are going right, but he can also easily be, slammed for a lot of things that went wrong. For, like the faith he's had in Keane and the faith he's had in a lot of other guys like Rabiot. Yes, he's done well, but the faith he's had in other guys who aren't doing as well can also be looked at. So I think, yes, the continuity is important. I think the team going through this rough patch and doing so well, I'll applaud him for doing well in a bad moment. Do I think it's all on him? No, I think a lot of that does stem from the players finally finding unity and finally understanding what Max wanted. I think the biggest disconnect was them understanding what he wanted. Now that that's being understood, I am going to give him more and more props as we go forward. But I have a big hypothetical on what's going to happen when we come back from the break, because that's going to be decisive. Now that he's, because right now he's doing what all managers should be doing. He's doing what he can with what he has. For the extra couple million that he makes above every other manager, now it's going to be the decisive point of saying, is he worth what we're paying him? And is he still a top coach? Because now is going to be the real challenge at hand.
Yeah. Omar, Lex, feel free to jump in here.
Yeah, sometimes you just have those games against Lazio and Inter that you can praise basically anyone, but then you have your Verona games where you barely scrape out a win based on luck because a different referee might have given one or two penalties there. And that's what concerns me. Like, when are we going to see that Juve again? When it matters against smaller teams, what are we going to lose seeing that Juve? Because it's pretty consistent. We get that every 4 or 5 games, that type of performance against the lower tier sides. And that's where his test will be. I mean, Napoli are pumping on all cylinders. Let's see if we can catch them. The smaller teams are where we should get the points to close the gap. Let's hope he can keep it up and we won't see another Verona match.
Yeah. Lex?
Agreed. I mean, that's my reservation right there that Omer said. It's those types of mentality switches, those inconsistencies from Max that it's just like you'll have a great game like we played against Lazio and Inter. We'll go out our next game against maybe a weaker side or we'll sit back. Or there'll be those switches where we'll go up a goal and then we'll sit back again because when there's something on the line, it's always like that kind of that fall back to that safe play mechanism. And I don't like that mentality. I've never been a fan of it. The sit back, like defensive ball. And like Al said, we still have problems creating. I think there's still a lot of work to be done. I think credit to Max. I'm pretty hard on him. So credit to him for getting us these results and along with the players, of course, for Lazio and Inter. However, I still see concerning, as Omer mentioned, that Verona game was just last game. And that was extremely concerning and very uneasy watching that type of play. And I still stand by the fact that if Allegri can maybe rewrite the ship for the rest of this season, maybe we finish top 4, whatever your definition of successful season from Max would be. I still stand by the fact that I do think that a different manager with a different approach than what we've seen thus far from Max will get more out of this squad. I do still think that, and I still stand by that. But we work with him right now, like Luca said, after the break, big test for him to see what kind of lineup he puts out when we do have that availability, right? And we do have all those guys back. It'll be up to him to tinker around and see who he wants to go with.
Yeah. For me, it's like this. And sometimes I map these things out perfectly. We talked about the players. We talked about them being able to change your opinions, change things over the course of a season. With Max, I say the same. What he's done now earns him the right to finish the season. Okay? So he's earned that right. Any talk of doing it now, I would definitely be against. Okay? He's earned that now. Yeah. See the season through. Opinion can still change, but I will say this, and credit to Max, and I will credit him on this because I take a big fat L for not believing that he could have this type of turnaround before the World Cup break. Yep. Because I saw the space that we covered, the amount that we covered in that period of time from where we were at that ultimate low and then the Champions League defeat and getting bounced, going into Europa League. I would have never thought that turnaround in that quick. And here's the question, and here's where my next wave of thinking comes in terms of Max Allegri. We will learn far more about Max 2.0 in the new year because when the guys come fit, because the biggest question still comes facing Max and this team is, did he stumble upon something he wouldn't have gone to if he didn't absolutely have to? So for me has he actually found the formula? Did he stumble across the formula? Not only that, even if he stumbled upon it, this is fine. That's perfectly fine. Can he keep it going? Can he integrate the big pieces enough? Yeah. Can he manage everything and keep this steamroller going? Because right now we are steamroller. Right now we are only 7 goals allowed in Serie A, easily the top defense, and we're getting the results. I know the Verona match was ugly as hell, but 3 weeks ago, that's a draw or a loss. So there is some progress made. For me, I take a big fat L because I did not think he would do it. Going into
that wouldn't have been delusional in any way. We did look, like 3 weeks ago we were in 8th place behind Roma, behind Inter, behind Atalanta, and
Lazio.
It's amazing. Like Milan got saved in the final minute from an own goal. If not,
we'd be second place.
For that own goal, we'd be second place.
Yeah,
from 8th to 2nd in 3 weeks. I mean, that's something crazy. And the other question is, what could have happened if he didn't stick to his own guys and would have tried those fellas?
I'm talking a bit more team oriented though. I'm talking about I would have never the space that we overcome and everything is great, but still 6 games to score 12 goals and concede 0, regardless of the results, the standings, what happened in the standings with other teams, regardless. That's an incredible record. The bigger thing, the more impressive thing is that I thought he completely lost the locker room, and I saw no way back from that. Another moment that can't be understated is Andrea Agnelli doubling down on Max and calling the players out. That was a ballsy move.
Cocky man.
That was a ballsy move. And hey, so far right now, it is in our favor and it's working out. But the second half of the season is where we are really going to learn about Max and this team.
Got to signal out the Retiro too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually important.
There's been some moments. Storm the barn. We have time for some. I've marked some that were earlier on in the discussion. We'll get there. Okay, so let's get those in there now as we speak. As far as top 4 goes, it finishes in World Cup break. Napoli at first with 41 points. Milan second, 33. Juve third with 31 points. And Lazio in fourth with 30. Okay, so Lex, I am going to call you out. Do you still feel 50% on Juve finishing in top 4? Is it still 50-50?
Never going to let that one go.
Yeah. I'm not going to buy it.
She's doubling down.
I'm more convinced now after, but it was a good run for him, I guess.
60-40?
One game.
60-40?
Not even.
60-40?
Don't give.
Hey, it's okay. I'm going to remind everybody, and it's okay to get pumped up about your team. It's okay.
We're not used to it.
We're coming back. If we come out of this World Cup break, start integrating these big guys, it's going to be good. But 50-50, look at Justin, 50-50.
50-50 on winning the league, maybe.
Well, I said it when I think we just lost to someone.
Before we get stormed apart, do you think, because there are some talking about it, and look at Beckham, 50% to win the Scudetto.
Yeah, 50-50 for the Scudetto.
All I'm going to say is this. You guys we'll have a little quick comments on Scudetto talk, okay? For me, it's just like this. If there's any team more ready for the second half of the season, I would seriously challenge that, because no team has gone through the adversity and the heat that Juve did, the absolute turmoil. This team is battle tested and they're ready. They get their guns back come January. Look out, because if Max can find the formula, the rotation, and keep everything balanced and normal, I'm saying anything can happen when you have a team that's playing in that manner and that fashion. If we can keep the clean sheets going, I'm telling you, there still is a possibility. There's the possibility, and it starts Friday, January 13th. If you can swing that game and you get those, if you can get a 6-point swing with Napoli, those goddamn rats, I'm telling you, it all starts there. But that's just how I feel. Is that
82nd minute penalty.
Is there's no team as ready for the second half of the season as Juventus. The World Cup break, everybody talking about a worst possible timing. I think it's good timing. But how do you guys feel about Scudetto talk? Just in general, Scudetto talk. Omer, kick us off real quick.
I'm going to maintain the game by game. I can't make a prediction on that. Yes. But I will say that what you're saying is correct. And maybe sometimes I've said it before, you need to lose all hope in order to really start rebuilding. Yeah. And once we stop fantasizing about Scudetto and Champions League and stuff, then something has changed in the team. And we have Cremonese going back from after the World Cup, which is okay. We could have gotten Napoli instead, and that might have been a shit show. But Cremonese is a good way to get the guys back rolling again. And they have a long break right now, and there's maybe a lot of time to work on fitness and new formation and stuff with guys who weren't here after that shambolic US tour they did in the summer. We could come out even stronger after the break. That's what I'm saying.
Real quick, real brief, Luca, Lex, Scudetto talk.
Thanks.
Luca?
Look, I think right now, as Omer said, it's a game at a time.
Okay.
The reality is, a lot of these guys, I think, couldn't deal with the Juventus pressure. This is a team that you join Juventus, you're expected to win the league. It's as simple as that. That's how our expectations have been. And now that we basically lost all hope, and these guys are like, okay, we're at the absolute bottom. They start to realize that the less you think about and are expected to win, the more they're able to actually just play and focus on the performance rather than on the results. So I think now that they've hit rock bottom and they've seen what they could do as a team, I think the sky is the limit, but they need to continue that mentality and stop worrying about the outside pressure. So one game at a time, we'll see where it goes, and I can't make any predictions. Anything could happen.
Yeah. Lex, your thoughts, Scudetto talk.
I mean, this is the one you had. I had one I'm standing by us going 50-50 to make top four. So, I mean, no, but I think that it's a long season. There's a lot that can happen. You're mathematically in it. You're still in it. But like Omer said, game by game. And I think the rest of the league definitely has more cause for concern now with us this second half of the season. I think that's a good feeling. And that's a feeling the team should pride themselves on.
There you go. But same common theme, one game at a time. I will say this, though. I stand behind what I say. No team is more battle-tested and ready. They're united. That's when interesting things can happen. And for me, this is a bigger turnaround than what happened in 2015-16, which also started with a victory against Torino. Hey, who knows? Now, Storm the Barn, we have time for a few. There's been a ton in here, so we're going to rifle through these, okay? So let's try and machine gun a couple of these.
Rifle through and machine gun.
Chiesa to score 10 goals or more than 10 goals. Yes or no? I think he's actually going to be more of a provider. I don't see him hitting 10 goals. So I'm going to say no, probably close to maybe 8 or something, but more assists. Lex, yes or no?
Agreed. Yeah, more of a provider.
More provider. Luca?
Same.
Okay. Omar, you think he's hitting 10 goals?
I think he'll have 10 goal contributions. I mean, assists and goals combined.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There you go. Now we've got that one. Do you guys think we're playing better without Vlahovic, or is it just coincidence that we found form while he has been injured? Spicy. I think the way we've been playing now is definitely not the way we were playing while Vlahovic was here, but I don't think it's because of him. And if I look at some of our successes lately, it's more a balance in the midfield and everything else working. So I think you plug Vlahovic in there and we still do just as good. And I think he starts finding more contributions, to be honest. So I don't think we're playing better because of him being out. That's me. Guys, quick. Lex, start us off.
Yep, agreed with you, Al. I think you put Vlahovic in how we're working right now, and I think we do better, and he does better.
Yeah. Luca?
Look, I was hard on him before. I think Dusan was not exactly hitting the potential or the expectations that we had of him. Do I think it's because of him that we're doing better? No, definitely think it comes down to our midfield and our unity as a squad. But now I definitely think, like Max, the pressure is going to be on Dusan when we return, because now the expectations are there again. We've got a team that's clicking. You are a star striker. I expect him maybe not to bury 2-3 goals a game, but to at least get a contribution every game. If you're starting, you are the fulcrum of this project. Make it work.
Yeah. Omer?
What Lex said, basically. But when the team is doing well, the rest of the guys will do well. And you got to remember, he's the same age as Keane. And Keane arguably has more experience, on the top level with Paris Saint-Germain and Premier League and stuff. So I'm patient. I don't think it's because of him that we played bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Justin B's got one for the Army. How do we feel about the lack of speed at times? I'd love a speedy winger or fullback. Chiesa, Di Maria playing. Those guys will pick it up for speed. That's how I feel. Omar?
Yeah, and add Kostic to the mix. He's faster
Kostic
than
is
I
fast
thought.
too. Yeah. Luca, do we have a lack of speed?
I think Chiesa will make a difference in there. Anel is fast, but he's more pacey than he is fast, I'd say. He's just more, dynamic. not straight line speed, but more
Yeah, I hear you.
slalom.
I get what
But
you're
I think our right side, I really think we discussed Cuadrado before. I think if we get someone a little bit more, I think as just a contrast to Juan on the right side, we could have two very effective flanks. The fact that we're always focused on our left is great because our left was our weak spot for years. But I still think if we could get someone on the right to balance it off, who like the sky could really be the limit if we have two flanks that are dangerous.
Yeah. Lex, lack of speed?
No, I agree with what you said. I think Chiesa comes back and helps that. I think Kostic's got a lot of direct pace too. Rabiot.
Yeah.
Some speed.
You should stop pushing Rabiot in every argument.
Stop it.
He's
Stop
a
it.
controversial topic.
Stop.
Was
no,
going out of
stop it.
Champions League
Stop
a
it.
blessing in disguise?
No.
No. Lucas says no.
Sorry.
I don't think so. I
No.
don't think it was a blessing in disguise.
No, it would
actually-
have been...
Hold on a second.
Look,
Because the team really united after that. Because
Yes,
they were
but
like
does-
thrown into.
I mean, yes, but also it's still a huge loss for the
That
season.
doesn't change.
I
But
don't think it's a
Is
blessing.
that one of the moment? It's definitely a contributing moment to the
Yes.
turnaround
Yes.
because of its implications, because it's such a big deal. So actually, maybe, just maybe, that was the final kick in the ass the team needed to wake up. Yeah,
It's an expensive kick in the ass.
it
No,
is.
It's
It
not.
hurts.
It's not that like we deserved it. The only downside of it is the money. Like I don't feel we might have gotten just another elimination by a Club Brugge or something that would have been even more painful. So maybe what do you wonder?
Yeah, he's right.
Final
Maybe we
round.
saved ourselves.
Okay.
But money wise, it's a pretty big loss.
Can we win at least 2 trophies this season? I will say anything can happen. That's it. Anything can happen. That's all I'm going to say. Anything to add, everybody?
One game at a time.
One game at a time. Yeah. Anything can happen one game at a time. Remo, Inter and Lazio were great tests along with great results. However, Napoli will be the true test. Do you agree that Napoli will be the actual true test? Of course, you would have to say because those are the ones that everyone's chasing. So it is a bigger test, but let's not downplay Inter and Lazio because those were tests, especially looking at where we were coming from. Still good tests, but Napoli is going to be that next level test for Juve. Any more to add, guys?
Yeah, Inter qualified, from a very tough group,
Yeah.
and right after they lost to us, they won 6-1. Like it's not like they're in bad form. We were just able to disable them and playing our games. So I wouldn't downplay not them and not Lazio. These were good tests, but obviously Napoli is one of the better sides in Europe right now statistically. So of course they're the biggest test we have in the league.
And if we want to talk top 4 or Scudetto, then those 2 Napoli games are huge for all of that. Like it's going to come down to that.
I can't wait.
We gotta
I
win
can't
at
wait
least
for us
one
to
of
beat
them.
Mm-hmm.
We have
Luca.
to win at least one of them.
82nd minute penalty, controversially called for Juventus. That's all I need to see versus Napoli. It's all I need to see. I need everything to explode.
I love it. I love it. The flip
I'm
side,
not a Milan fan.
that it will not leave my memory. What if 2 points to Salernitana come into play?
Oh,
at some point in
don't
this
do the what
season?
if, Bert.
Type.
Don't do it.
I'm telling you. Let's just see.
I'll tell you why I'm not concerned about it, because it happens every season.
There's
Every
always one.
season we
Yeah.
lose
But that was bad.
That one was
blatant.
blatantly bad. The other ones
Blatantly
were,
bad, yeah.
Opinion oriented. What that was just a
This
flat
was
out
terrible. Yeah.
Last one. Are you guys concerned we have 11 players going to the World Cup? And teams like Napoli, only 3. Does this concern you? Again, for everybody, the World Cup, we have Bremer, Danilo, and Sandro for Brazil, McKennie for USA, Vlahovic, Kostic for Serbia, Rabiot for France, Szczesny and Milik for Poland, and Paredes Di Maria for Argentina. Are we concerned with having 11 players going to the World Cup? Yes or no? Lex?
I think just from a fitness perspective, that would be the concern. You'd hope that they don't come back hurt, right? That's probably the only thing I would say.
That's the question, Lex. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's the concern. I think it's also hard to take off, 50 days in between? That's till the next Serie A game. So I think that's also difficult.
Yeah. Luca, Omer, anything to add on? Are you concerned? Yes or no?
I'm concerned.
No.
So
No, it
Luca's
actually-
concerned, Omer isn't.
Yeah,
Omar,
it's actually,
go ahead, buddy.
It actually makes the World Cup more interesting for me since Italy are not there. At least I have Juve players to follow all over, and that's it. I'm not concerned. Fitness issues are fitness issues. Mainly luck. I don't think it has to do anything. If they wouldn't have played there, then they would have played in the league. So fitness issues were scare either way. I'm actually more confident for them playing for the national teams than for Juve.
Yeah, because their
I'll tell you
fitness
this.
team is better there.
I'm not concerned. The reason I'm not concerned is, number one, I don't know if we can even actually face more injuries than we already have so far this season, okay? The other thing is, if you look at some of those players and where they stand on their national side, that kind of gives me a little bit of reprieve too in being overly concerned, because some of them aren't going to be logging the minutes on the national team. That would make me actually concerned. The other thing is, honestly, like I said, we've been already gone to hell and back, okay? And we made it through. So whatever happens. I still say right now we have left 2022 in the perfect manner. The rivals are thinking about us anytime we get close. And when you throw in a couple of these ugly, controversial wins, I love it. I love it because that just spices things up, and we will always live rent-free in all of their heads. It will always be Juve versus the world. I'm telling you, and I absolutely love it. Fantastic end to 2022. Perfect ending against Lazio. Lex, Omar, Luca, you guys were fantastic. Live chat, absolutely amazing. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. We are not done during the World Cup break, okay? We're taking a Juve break, but not necessarily, because we're going to be doing the World Cup Ride or Die Challenge. So this gives us opportunity to have some fun through the World Cup, okay? So we're going to end up following our teams and having shows following the performances of Juventus players. Now, everybody who chose their team member, okay, that they were going to follow in the Ride or Die Challenge, if your team member's team wins the World Cup, you are entered into the draw to win the national team kit of your choice. If your representative has the top goal scorer, there's another prize that you're in a draw for, just those people that chose that member, okay? And most points out of the group stage from all teams combined gets a prize. So we have a lot of prizes, okay? The other thing is, too, that the team members don't know. The team members don't know that there's a prize for the team member whose team wins the World Cup, all right? So we're going to have a lot of fun. And if you thought the banter on some of these shows was good before, wait till this World Cup goes, because I'm telling you, we're going to end up having some fun here. Now, the members were all already determined before we saw these lists, because we randomly draw the teams, okay? So I apologize if some haven't got in there. It's a little tough to do now. But yeah, maybe we'll whip something else up. But we're going to have a lot of fun with this, so make sure you still stay tuned to the channel, because the World Cup Ride or Die is going to be good. Again, condolences and apologies to anyone who decided to go with Lucci or Anthony. Absolutely shocking stuff. But, you know,
choose wiser. Choose wiser.
That's it. Next guy's, it's not a popularity contest.
I gave
sometimes.
you guys a 1-minute video on why not to do it. But hey, you know, you live, you learn. Everybody, 2022 ends. Juventus in third place, where nobody thought we would be. Okay, positive. Let's go. Enjoy the World Cup break. Hopefully we still see you for some of the shows we'll do, and I'll still keep you in tabs on the news. Everybody, fino alla fine. Forza Juve. Is Juve back? Is Juve back? Starting to feel that way. Let's wait and see in 2023.
On our way.
Ciao tutti.